Hello guys, welcome to the video. My name is Script and today I'm going to teach you guys how to actually make your own Lua script, okay? This is going to be a pretty long tutorial video, about 10 minutes to 15 minutes long, and I'll try to actually go over the most basic things, and in the next tutorial video we go over a little more advanced stuff, okay? Alright, let's go. First thing you're going to do, you're going to have a Logitech Gaming Hub. Now you can also use your Logitech gaming software, but I recommend you use the Logitech Gaming Hub because it is the newest version. Okay, cool. Now, as you guys can see over here, I have three accessories from Logitech. I have the G502, G910, and G Pro X. Okay, now, I will specifically be using the G502 for this video. You can also make a script inside the G910, but I'll make it inside the G502. And you guys are gonna notice that scripts are actually basically, I like to call it international. They can work with any other accessory. Okay, cool. Let's go over here to the G502 mouse. Okay, and now inside my mouse, this is my mouse right here. We can go here to assignments. Okay, as you can see right here, we can go here to sensitivity. Now, as you can see, none of these options actually have scripting inside of them. So for you to actually access scripts, you actually need to do the following. You need to come over here to top, active profile. You need to go to the active profile you have right now. And as you can see right here, I already gave a try to this video. Yeah, I already have a profile called Simple Recoil, but I'm going to teach you guys how to make a new one. So let's go ahead and make a new profile. So you're going to come over here to desktop. Okay, I'm going to do it on my desktop. I'm going to click over here, add profile for the selected app. I'm going to click on the plus. I'm going to name this profile Simple Recoil. Okay. And over here, as you can see, now I have two profiles. I have the default profile and I have Simple Recoil profile. Okay. Now, a profile is basically just a set of configurations and savings, right? So for example, in my default profiles, I may have a macro that does something, while in my Simple Recoil profile, I have a macro that does something else, okay? Or let's say you want to have a profile in your desktop that, in that profile, you want to be specifically have a profile for programming. And then you can make some macros that automatically write code for you or some shit like that, right? And then in the other profile, you have some music vibing and you can change your keys or whatever. I don't know, things like that. Let's come over here to the Simple Recoil, okay? Let's go to scripting right here, this little icon. And where it says active Lua script, you're gonna click on it. And then as you can see over here, I already gave it a try. I wrote a simple script. I'm gonna delete this and I'm gonna click on create new Lua scripts. I'm gonna name this simple script. Description, you don't have to put it, it's optional, but I'm gonna write a tutorial. And I'm gonna click edit script at the bottom right here. As you can see, we have this page right here. This is a very important page. This is a page we're gonna actually be doing a script on. And as soon as you open this page, you have the default coding, this code that's already given to you, okay? And this code you actually need. But anyways, the first thing we're gonna do now is we're gonna open a few pages. We're gonna click over here on help, and we're gonna open the scripting API. So click on it. That's gonna open this page right here, which we have on your right side of the screen. Logitech G Hub Lua API, okay? Overview and reference. We're gonna be using this. So we get a little overview and reference of what we're going to be doing here in the actual coding right here. And now we're going to open a Lua online reference. This Lua online reference basically just opens this page over here, which can gives you the documentation of the Lua, how to download it and things like that. All right, cool. Now let's go straight forward into it. Now over here, as you can see on the right side, we have the Logitech G Hub Lua API. Now Lua is a programming language, okay? It's a script language, okay? You can utilize it for many things. However, Logitech decided to implement this into its scripting feature, which means you can now utilize Lua API to do specific things on your Logitech gaming mouse and keyboard. Now, not everything in this page will actually be in the code we're gonna write. So some things we're gonna write in the code is conditionals. Conditionals are not taught over here, okay? Because this is just from the API itself. These are things that you can do from the API, but conditionals in general is actually from the Lua language. You can actually write conditions in the Lua language. Cool. Now let's go down over here on this page. We have the overview on page 3, is reference page 4, standard Lua 5.4 libraries page 42, and appendix A page 44. We're gonna start with the overview page 3. It just tells you what this is, okay? It explains how the Lua API is implemented into this Logitech Gaming Hub. Okay, we're not gonna read it. And over here we have reference. The most important part is reference, okay? And the appendix. All right, cool. So reference over here, we have the first reference, which is OnEvent. And as you see over here, the function that we actually already have, it has been given to us a function called OnEvent. So that's actually pretty important. So let's go ahead and read this function. Page 5. Let's go down page 5. Page 5 right here. OnEvent. This function serves as the event handler for the script. you will need to implement this function. Okay, so it says you need to implement this function. So this function is required. That's why they gave it to us, because it is required. Okay, cool. Now, what it is, a function, my way of explaining functions is, a function is just a block of code. Whatever you have in the block of code will keep on executing over and over again. Okay, cool. Now, we have a function called OnEvent. That's just the name of the function. They decided to call it OnEvent. Okay, now this makes it easy because now we know that this function will happen on the event of something else happening. If an event can be anything. Now let's read specifically to know what an event is. So, string containing the event identifier. So as you can see right here, we have a parameter called event. Now this event parameter, as you see right here, parameters, it's a string containing the event identifier. Okay. Now the event identifier can be basically the event identifier is basically what is causing it. Okay, now as you see right here, we have remarks. The following is a list of identifiers in the arguments. So these are all events that could be happening. Okay, so profile activated, profile deactivated, G press, G release, M press, M release. Okay, so those are just events that are given right, they are being put right here. Now every single time we do any of those specific events, it will call this function. So that's what that is. Okay, cool. Now let's actually write a little code and let's see if you guys can understand what I'm doing right here. So let's actually just take out this code, these comments. So that's how you comment a code. Okay, when you comment a code, it becomes green, and this code is not being run by the script right now. Okay, so what this code is supposed to do, it's supposed to output log message. Over here at the bottom, we have a log. Okay, over here, all right. And this code is supposed to output log message every single time an event is running. It's supposed to type event, the name of the event, and the argument, and what the argument being pressed is. Okay, so that's what this little code right here is supposed to do. Let's take the comment out. Cool. Let's press Ctrl S, and now if we press any key in your mouse, it's gonna say at the bottom the log message right there. The event, the actual event that's taken from this. The argument that's taken from the parameter, the argument that's taken from the parameter, okay? Now we can actually keep writing something. We can actually write something like, let's actually write something, yeah, let's write something right here. I am cool, okay? Cool. Now every single time we do anything, it's gonna say I am cool and the event, okay? And it's gonna run through this loop again, this code again, okay, cool. That should show you guys that you guys can personalize this a little bit. You can modify this. Okay, cool. Now let's go straight forward into it. So now as you can see right here, we have this log message telling us what we're pressing on our mouse. Okay, what we're doing on our mouse and what we're doing on keyboard. If I want to press a key on my keyboard, it's also going to show over there. Okay, there you go. All right, cool. So right now I'm going to press the mouse button argument 2, which is my right click. I'm pressing my right click right now. I'm going to press my middle click, which is my argument 3. Now, when you press it, see how it says press? If I release it right now, it's going to say release. I'm going to press it, not releasing it, and then I'm going to release. So there's a big difference between pressing and releasing. When you press something is when you press down on it. When you release is when you let go. Cool. Now, there's something called a click on a mouse specifically. That's not a keyword in here, but a click is when you press and release your mouse button on your mouse. Okay. Now, there's something called press and release, which is just a press and a release. And that's actually a keyword that we're going to be utilizing later on. Cool. Let's go straight forward into it. Now, let's write a conditional. So, if. Now, make sure that every single time you do anything, make sure you can either use 3 spaces for an indent, or you can just press tab. I recommend you use 3 spaces because not every single editor takes tab the same way. Now, what do I mean by that? So right now we have this code. Now we want to keep writing. So we're going to press enter. Okay, we're going to do space 3 times. Actually, let's do space 4 times. I think that's 5. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 times. So it matches this one. Okay, so space 4 times is an indent in this case. Let's write if mouse button press 3. Now this code is wrong, and we're going to actually see why that's wrong. So if you want to know what this is, we're going to actually just come over here and we're going to press Ctrl F, mouse button. Okay. We're going to actually see right here. See, these are all the functions, right? All the functions. So what the function I actually want to utilize is mouse button press. So I actually got to put a is at the end right here. Is mouse button press. And now let's see what this function actually does. Oops, I pressed the wrong one. Oh boy. Okay. There you go. Is mouse button press. So is mouse button pressed? It's a Boolean value, which means either true or false. It's a function that is used to determine if a particular mouse button is currently in a press state. So if is mouse button pressed and then the mouse button is gonna return true or false. So are we pressing this button right now? Is that true or is that false? Okay. Now these are some specific buttons you can use. So left mouse button is 1, middle mouse button is 2, right mouse button is 3. Okay. Now there are more mouse buttons that you can use. On my G502, for example, it has 11 specific keys on my mouse that I can utilize. So I can go for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay, cool. Now let's go straight forward into it. So if his mouse button press 3, now 3 in this case, believe it or not, 3 is right click. Okay, that's just a bug. 3 is right click. Instead of 2 being right click, 3 is right click. All right, cool. I know that down here it says that 2 is a right click. Right now I'm pressing right click and it says 2. But in the coding, it's actually 3. Anyways, if his mouse button press right click, then what? What do we want to do? So right now we're going to go and do another function. Okay, so I'm going to press again space 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to do repeat. Okay, I'm going to actually do 1, 2, 3, 4 again. Okay, now if his mouse button pressed, then repeat. Repeat what? We want it to repeat something. If we're gonna write another conditional right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If is mouse button press 1, then do something. Okay, we're gonna do another repeat right here. Repeat. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you can either do spaces or you can just do tabs. I know it's a little annoying how they don't indent it for you automatically. Alright, cool. So there you go. So now we have if his mouse button press 3. So if we're pressing the mouse button 3, then it's gonna keep repeating this code right here. And then if we're pressing the mouse button 1, it's gonna repeat this code right here. Now as soon as I write the next line, you guys are gonna understand what I'm doing. First of all, we need to know how can we lower the mouse cursor. So let's actually come over here to the functions. I think it's all the way over here. Yep. Functions. Let's see if there's any function that can lower the mouse cursor. MoveMouseTo or MoveMouseRelative. Now, these two functions, although they seem similar, they are different. So let's click on the MoveMouseTo function, which is specifically on page 22. We can just click on it. And it says, this function is used to move the mouse cursor to an absolute location on the screen. Absolute position. That's actually bad. Because what this is going to do is this is just going to move the mouse to a position. This is not going to use our current position. It's just going to like straight up. Like for example, let's say you're here. Boom. Just do that straight up. Right? Extremely fast. Now let's actually put this code in there and see what happens. Okay. I'm going to put it right here. Oh my god. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, cool. So now we have a little code that says MoveMouseTo. Okay. So now let's actually write a coordinate right here. 150, 150. Okay. So cool. Now let's, this code seems pretty good, right? Let's try to execute it, see what happens. Press Ctrl S. It's gonna give us a little error. Now as you see right here, this function has an end value, which tells the actual programming language, it tells it, hey, this function is over right here. Okay, you can end it right here. Now conditionals also have an end value, and we don't have that here. Now let's count how many conditionals we have. We have 1 conditional, we have 2 conditionals, which means we need 2 end values. Now, just letting you know, that's not the right way of doing it, okay? You need to know, like, you should write the end value as soon as you write your conditional. But anyways, so we have an end value for this conditional right here, which is this one right here. And now we're gonna write the end value for the main conditional right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. You should align the end values so that it matches and that it's easy for people to understand what you're doing. Now it should be ready, right? It should be good. Let's press Ctrl S again. Ooh, another error. Wow. Syntax error, line 8. Now, something you may know is that there's a repeat function. I don't know if the repeat function is actually covered in this reference. Let's see. Repeats. I don't see repeat here. Do you guys see repeat? I don't see repeat. So repeat is actually not covering. Repeat is actually something of the language. And remember, I told you guys about this kind of stuff, right? I told you guys, hey, there may be things that you may not know because it's actually on the language. So let's actually go into it. I know this video already hit 15 minutes, but let's just go into it and let me show you guys. Right now I'm in the programming language. I'm gonna go to documentation. Okay, now you can just try to find it from here, but honestly, I just like to go on Google and type repeat Lua. The first page right here says repeat Lua org 4.3.3. That's probably the version of the Lua. Click on it. There you go. So this basically tells you what repeat does. As the name implies, a repeat until statement repeats its body until its conditional is true. Okay, so what is the body right now? So the body right now is this. That's the body. And for this one, the body right now is this. For the one on top over here, the body is this. All right? So, however, it says the test is done after the body, so the body will always execute at least once. It says repeat until. So we are missing the until part, right? So we need to add that in because else the repeat doesn't work. And it seems right here we need to add it right in the same line as repeat because they're part of the same thing. So it's as if you have a conditional and the end of the conditional, they're the same thing, they're part of the same thing. So let's do this right here. Let's do a repeat, and then we're gonna actually press space, I don't know how many times, until, okay, until not is mouse button press 1. Okay, now why did I say until not? Because if we type until, okay, so over here, for example, this conditional, it says if is mouse button 1 press. So if you're pressing the button, this is gonna say true, and if it's true, then it's gonna do this. Now this one is gonna say if mouse until mouse button press, right? If you read this, let's just take that out. If you read this in English, it's basically saying until this is true. And that makes 0 sense. We are doing this conditional if it's true, and we need to have a way to get out of this conditional. We don't want to be in this conditional forever, so we need to actually make the opposite of that to get out. So we're gonna write a not here, and that's gonna transfer the true to a false. Basically, that's not what it does actually, but you guys, I hope you guys get the point. All right, cool. Now let's press Ctrl S. Oh, another error. Wow, this next error is in this conditional. Because you know why? It's in this conditional because the syntax error is for this end, and this end takes care of this conditional. Cool. So it says syntax error. Now, what is the syntax error here? So let's read. If his mouse button press 3, then argument repeat. Huh. Oh, I see. I don't have the until not. I don't have the until function. I don't have the until telling the repeat to end it. So let's actually do another. Let's do this right here, down here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Until not is mouse button press 3. So we're gonna be doing this functionality until the mouse button press 3 is released. And we're gonna be doing this functionality until the mouse button press 1 is released. Now, cool. Let's make it a little easier to understand. Let's put some spaces right here. Can actually indent this one. Oh, that's not how you. Okay. Anyways, let's actually take this out. There you go. There you go. Press Ctrl S. Now there is no errors. Now let's try to read this code. Let's see if you can read this code. So try to read this code in English, and see if you, or whatever language you speak. Try to read this code and see if you understand what this code is doing. Now this code is pretty readable in a human language. Okay, you can definitely read it. Okay, this is not machine language over here. Okay. All right. I'm guessing you tried to read it and it didn't work out, or it did. So, all right, let's do it. So as long as it's any function running, whatever the event is, whatever the argument is of that event, then we're gonna output a log message at the bottom right here that says what the event is and the argument is. And then we're also going to check if the mouse button 3 is pressed. If it is, we're gonna repeat this check over here, which checks if the mouse button 1 is pressed. If it is, then we're gonna repeat this check right here. Now, what I am trying to do is do the following. I am trying to make a recoil application that will execute if the mouse button 3, which is the aim button, and the mouse button 1 are pressed at the same time. Okay, that's what I am trying to do here, and I guess you guys already figured it out. Now, let's actually try this right now. Let's press mouse button 3, we're pressing it, mouse button 1, and it just moved the mouse. Okay, it literally just moved the mouse. Now, you guys may have noticed something. So, if you ever get stuck in a loop, okay, which is very possible, if you ever get stuck in a loop, then what you should definitely do is you're gonna have to press. So, for example, this function right here, what it does is that it puts you into a loop. Let's actually do this again. There you go. Now I'm stuck in a loop. I cannot move my mouse out of that because I did something wrong in the code. I wrote the code wrong. What you can do is you can press Alt Tab, you can find the actual simple script and you can press Alt F4. And that's gonna end that specific page that you're looking at and just close down the script. So if you're ever stuck in a loop like that because you wrote the code wrong like I did, you can always do that, okay? Now, what is wrong right here? What do you think is wrong? We need to have some sort of sleep functionality, because else that function is going to be running extremely fast over and over again. So let's set a sleep functionality right here. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. I recommend you guys use tabs. Honestly, it's so much better. All right, I'm gonna write a sleep of 10, and that's milliseconds. Let's actually run the script again, and now I can move my mouse back anytime I want. It should bring my mouse back there, but it's not going to. It's not going to because I am not always pressing these. I let go of mouse button 1. Okay. So now, for example, if I press only the 3, right, which says 2 over here, guys, but I'm pressing my right click, but it's actually 3 in the code. If I press 3 right now, nothing's happening. If I press 1, it goes. Okay. It moves my mouse to that position. Now you don't want that, right? If you want to make a simple recoil, what you want is you want it to actually move your mouse relative to where you are. So right now, let's say my mouse is in the center of the screen. I want it to move my mouse like down relative to what I was before. So I want it to keep adding to that prior position. Relative just means that it gets the previous cursor position and adds a specific amount to that position, and then it makes the new one your old one, and then keeps on doing that over and over again as it moves your mouse down, up, left, or right. Now, what we need is actually MoveMouseRelative right here, page 24. Click on it. MoveMouseRelative function is used to simulate relative mouse movement. Okay. Now, X and Y, right here, we're just going to copy this right here. Oops. We're just going to copy that right here. And there's actually example codes right here which you can copy. You know what? Let's copy the example code since it's already actually pretty good for us. Let's copy that. Put it right here. Let's make sure we put our tabs. There you go. And now what this is gonna do, try to read it. So knowing these, right, this explanation right here, try to understand what that's gonna do before I even do anything. All right, I'm guessing you did try. Hopefully you understood it. But MoveMouseRelative is gonna move our mouse relative to the x-axis 0, and it's gonna move our mouse relative to the y-axis -1, which is actually what position? What do you think -1 is in terms of movement? Yes, the answer is right here, upwards. So -1, any number that's negative is gonna go upwards. So let's press Ctrl S. Let's press our right click or left click, and our mouse is moving up. Now, unless you play a really weird game, you know the recoil does not move up. Okay, so what we need is actually this should be a positive number. Now let's press Ctrl S again. Let's press right click, and then let's press left click. Wow, look at that. It's moving your mouse very smoothly, very fluidly, and it's moving very slowly too. And I don't like that. You know what? How can I change that? Knowing that this value right here is the y-axis, I can maybe modify it. So 1 means it's moving like what, 1 pixel, what is it moving, right? So let's actually, you know, try and make it moving. Let's try and modify it. Let's put a 10 right here and let's see what happens. Let's press right click and left click. Wow, look at that. That's so much faster. But that's a little too much recoil, isn't it? That's a little too much pull down. I'm pretty sure not a lot of games have that except PUBG. So what we need to do then is we need to actually come over here and we need to actually maybe lower it a little bit to a 5. 5 should be good for most games. 5 seems pretty good. Still too much for some games though. So the good value would be like maybe 3. Oh wow, that's perfect. I can definitely use that in Battlefield and many other games that have low recoil. Okay, so that's this simple script for you guys. Okay, so today I taught you guys how to make a very simple script. On next videos, we're gonna actually try to make another function. Okay, on this other function, we're gonna try to take a recoil table and do things with it. Okay, and then we're gonna just keep getting advanced and advanced and advanced. But this sort of script, guys, you can actually find these scripts online. Okay, on pages like Unknown Cheats, OnCore, MPG, H. Okay, those are cheat websites. Okay, but honestly, these things are so simple to do. All you need to do is kind of read it. You need to read this entire page, okay, to make your own cool thing, make your own simple script. and you just gotta read a little bit of Lua. You need to understand what Lua is, okay? It's very simple. It's very easy. It's very similar to Python, okay? If you know Python, you should this should feel pretty similar to you guys, okay? Now that's it for this video. This video is extremely long. It was double the size I thought it was gonna be. So I'm gonna stop it right here, but make sure please subscribe to the channel if this video helped you in any way. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you join my Discord community. In there you can ask me questions directly, okay? And thank you guys, appreciate it, and have a nice time.